He used to say faith was just a story, something people created to feel safe, to feel less alone in a world that never cared. He lived in silence. In darkness. In a tiny apartment filled with the smell of cigarettes and regret. Every night he sat staring at the wall, convincing himself that nothing existed beyond this life, that when the lights went out, everything ended. But as he sat there that night, breathing heavy, his fingers trembling, he felt something he could not explain. A pressure in his chest. A fear he had never felt before. And he didn't know it yet. But within the next few hours, the man who believed in nothing, was about to meet someone he never believed existed. He reached for the counter, but the world spun. A sharp pain stabbed through his chest, stealing his breath. His vision blurred, legs giving way under him. He fell to the kitchen floor, the cold tiles pressing against his cheek. His heart hammered violently 1 second, then slowed the next. He tried to call for help, but his voice barely left his mouth. For the first time in his life, he felt fear of dying. A fear he thought he was too logical to have. As everything darkened, a single thought cut through his mind: I'm not ready. And then, nothing. Sirens howled through the night as paramedics worked desperately around him. Oxygen mask over his face, their voices sounded like echoes underwater. He could barely focus, just flashes of red and blue lights reflecting off the inside of the ambulance. One paramedic kept tapping his shoulder, saying, "Stay with me. Stay awake." But his eyelids were heavy. His heartbeat weak. And every second felt like he was drifting further from the world he once mocked. He tried to lift his hand, but it felt like lifting a mountain. He didn't know where he was going. Only that he was slipping away. The ambulance doors burst open, and a flood of harsh hospital lights hit his eyes. Nurses rushed him through the hallway, the ceiling light streaking past like a tunnel. He could hear fragments of words: cardiac arrest, blood pressure dropping, prepare the room. But every sound felt distant, as if the world was fading away from him. He tried to speak, tried to ask if he would survive. But his voice failed. His mind echoed with the same thought again and again. Is this the end? His heart slowed. His body trembled. And even before the doctors reached the room, his spirit felt like it was already leaving. Doctors surrounded him, their hands moving fast but their faces tense. The monitors beeped violently, then slowed into an irregular rhythm. He felt himself drifting, like his body was sinking into the hospital bed. His hand slipped off the side, hanging lifelessly. The sound in the room vanished. He couldn't hear the doctors anymore. Couldn't feel the needles, the tubes, the pressure on his chest. He knew something was wrong. Something final. And in that strange silence, the man who mocked every believer felt, for the first time, completely helpless. The last thing he heard was the long, piercing sound of the heart monitor. One continuous tone. Flatline. No rhythm. No heartbeat. Just that cold, merciless sound. His eyes remained half open, staring at the ceiling, but his soul had already loosened its grip. Doctors shouted commands. Clear. Charge again. We're losing him. But he didn't hear it. Because in that moment, the man who believed in nothing had already stepped into a place beyond life. He felt weightless. Free. As if his body had become nothing more than an empty shell below him. He floated above the hospital bed, staring at himself, cold, still, lifeless. A misty glow filled the room, swirling like soft fog illuminated by an unseen light. He wasn't afraid. Just confused. How could he be dead, and still awake? Still conscious. Still aware. Every belief he held shattered in one single moment. For the first time, he whispered into the silence. Is anyone there? He stepped out into the hallway, except the hallway didn't feel like a hallway anymore. It was silent. Completely silent. Lights flickered above him, echoing through the emptiness. No doctors. No nurses. No sound of machines or footsteps. Just him. In a place where time felt frozen. He started walking, each step echoing softly like he was in a dream. But beneath the silence, he felt something else. Something watching him. Something waiting. Then he heard it. Soft. Gentle. Echoing through the darkness like a breath of wind. You were never alone. He froze. The sound wasn't coming from around him. It was coming from everywhere. The hallway darkened, one light after another shutting off behind him. Ahead, a warm glow appeared. A glow that felt alive. His heart, wherever it was, felt like it began beating again. But not with fear. With recognition. The golden light grew brighter, filling the end of the corridor. Dust particles floated like tiny stars, shimmering as they drifted toward him. He raised his hand to shield his eyes, overwhelmed by the warmth radiating from the glow. He didn't know why. But he felt drawn to it. Like something inside him, something buried for years, was waking up. His legs trembled. His breath trembled. And a whisper inside his heart said, "This is real." In the center of the light, someone stood. A figure, tall, calm, wrapped in gentle radiance. Not blinding. Not frightening. But peaceful, like sunlight after a storm. The silhouette slowly stepped forward. And in that split second, the man knew who it was, even before he could see his face. His soul recognized the presence that his mind denied for years. As the figure approached, his features became clear. Kind eyes, soft glow around his face, a presence that felt like love itself. Jesus. Not a story. Not a myth. Not a symbol. Real. Standing right in front of him. Jesus spoke, his voice gentle, yet powerful enough to shake the silence. "Why don't you believe?" The question pierced his heart deeper than any pain he'd ever felt. Because he didn't have an answer. He fell to his knees, trembling, tears spilling uncontrollably. Everything he denied, everything he mocked, was standing before him with love, not anger. He cried. "I didn't know. I didn't know you were real. I didn't know you were there." Jesus looked at him with compassion, not judgment. In that moment, the man felt every wall he built. Every argument, every doubt. All crumble to dust. He wasn't an atheist anymore. He was a broken soul. Finally seeing the one who waited for him all his life. Jesus placed his hand gently on the man's shoulder. And the entire corridor burst into warm white gold light. It wasn't just light. It was life. He felt it enter him, filling every part of his being with peace so powerful he couldn't breathe. Years of bitterness melted away. Pain dissolved, fear vanished. For the first time in his existence, he felt loved. Behind him, the air shimmered. And memories began appearing like glowing frames. His childhood prayer. The night his mother died. The friend who betrayed him. The addictions that consumed him. Moments of anger, heartbreak, loneliness, all swirling around him like a storm made of his past. He watched himself. And he realized every wound that shaped who he became. With a gentle gesture, Jesus showed him another set of memories. Times he should have died. Should have fallen. Should have never survived. Car accidents avoided. Dangers he escaped. Moments he thought were luck. Jesus said softly, "I was there." Tears streamed down his face as he whispered, "Why? I never believed in you." Jesus replied, "But I always believed in you." He felt a surge of warmth enter his chest. Like fire, but gentle. The light wrapped around his heart, pulsing through his veins. He heard a slow, steady heartbeat echoing inside him, not in the corridor. In his body. It was as if life itself was being placed back inside him. He felt whole again. A feeling he hadn't known since childhood. Jesus stepped backward, returning into the glow. The corridor vibrated softly, like the world was shifting. His voice echoed, gentle, but commanding. "Your time is not over. Go back, and live differently." The golden light began to pull away, fading into the distance. The man reached out, tears falling. "Don't leave me." But Jesus smiled and said, "I never did." A powerful force pulled him backward, rushing through darkness, through light, through silence, until suddenly he dropped back into the hospital room. He watched his spirit fall into his body with a bright flash. Then, everything went black. The heart monitor exploded with sound. Beep, beep, beep. Doctors jumped back in shock. Nurses rushed in, gasping at the impossible. The flatline turned into a strong, steady heartbeat. One doctor whispered, "He was gone, how?" But they had no answer. Because this wasn't medicine. It was a miracle. He gasped, a loud, desperate breath, as if his soul had been thrown back into his body. Tears streamed down his face. His chest rose and fell rapidly. The doctors stared in disbelief, whispering among themselves. But he didn't care, because he knew exactly what happened. He had come back, with a heart that finally believed. When he could finally speak, his voice cracked with emotion. "I heard someone." The doctors exchanged confused glances. "Someone spoke to me," he said again, wiping tears. "He told me to come back." Nobody understood. Nobody believed. But he didn't need them to. Because he knew the truth. And he would never forget that voice. Weeks later, he walked out of the hospital with quiet strength in his steps. He held a Bible, one he never imagined he'd touch. Sunlight warmed his face as he breathed deeply, feeling peace he had never known before. He wasn't the same man. His past didn't control him. His future had a purpose. He finally understood what grace felt like. He stood outside the hospital, watching the golden sunrise break across the sky. The same kind of light he saw in that other world. With a trembling smile, he whispered, "I believe now." He called me by name. And as the screen fades to black, one message remains. No life is too far for God to reach. If this story touched your heart, don't leave without subscribing. Share this video with someone who needs hope today. Your one click might bring someone back to faith. If you believe in miracles, type Amen in the comments.